Hello. How's it
How
going?
good? How are you? Are you on
Good,
your
good.
balcony?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Great.
perfect. I
Yeah.
figured I'd do it outside because it's nice and sunny.
Oh my gosh, I know this morning was not looking nice and now I kind of wish I was outside.
At least you have some nice sunlight coming
You know
in.
what? I'm very blessed because I do have a lot of windows, so
Mhm.
I'm just happy it is not snowing and raining.
Yes, I agree. I feel like
Yeah.
if I don't tell myself to go outside every day, then I'm inside and I'm like, okay, I need some sunshine and some air
Just
and
like go
just
out on the patio if you have one, or like open the window and just like smell it, smell
yeah,
the air,
yeah,
and
just to stay
then,
sane.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing. Anyways, I guess it is 2 o'clock, so maybe
Okay.
we'll get started if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you, Nicole, for coming on this live session with me because I think it's really important to share things that bring us joy, especially those who suffer from anxiety and depression. And I'm sure that a lot of people right now are, feeling a little alone, feeling a little sad. And, what better way to make you happy than to dance?
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that because I love to dance, but I feel like I'm a little bit like Elaine from Seinfeld, where I think I do have moves, but like people looking at me maybe don't think so. And anyways, I just wanted to share the love of dance and have you on to talk about it.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be
Yeah.
here.
Well, and I just also what inspired you to start dancing? And I guess explain a little bit of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, I'm Nicole. I grew up in Ottawa. My parents put me into dance in a very young age, like into ballet at 3. And I was that kid that, while all the other girls were lined up nicely at the bar, I was the kid running around trying to catch a butterfly. I don't know. I didn't have that discipline that they were hoping I would get. And then they ended up actually putting me into this program called Culture Shock, which is international hip hop
Oh, very
program for
cool.
youth. Yeah, and it was incredible. And I think the energy and the pace at which I learned, it was sort of more of, it connected with me more as a kid. I did that from age, I think, about 8 to 12.
Right.
And that kind of kicked off my love of dance. I was one of the youngest. Most people in the company were about 15, 16, and I was really inspired by these older dancers. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of, they'd teach me things. I would do my own thing, but I really enjoyed it. And I think for me, I recognized that dance was always a place for me to just really focus and stay, almost, I want to say, stay calm. As a kid, I was super all over the place and I was go, go, go. And dance was that time for me just to focus in and ironically kind of create that discipline that my parents had wanted me to create in ballet. So I continued. I went to studios. I did a little bit of competition. I did recreation in university. I joined my university dance team. Always thought that it would be a recreational thing. And then through meeting people and different opportunities I was presented with, I started to take it more seriously and I started to think, wait, people make careers out of this.
Yep.
Um, so I graduated university, got an internship in Toronto that took me here. I was working in arts administration, so I was working with artists every day. And while I was doing, the work for them, I was in the rehearsals, capturing pictures for social media. But deep down, thinking, I want to be dancing. I want to be doing what they're doing. So it's kind of been this evolving journey where I've had to, um, it's been a lot of trial and error in figuring out how dance fits into my life now. But yeah, I think it was when I moved to Toronto that I realized that, okay, I want to take this in a more professional road, and I've been doing that ever since.
That's amazing. And I actually did a little bit of creeping on you on the internet, and I've seen a couple of your, I guess, is the sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so it
Can you
sounds
hear me?
weird on my earphones.
Oh, okay.
Um, Anyways, I saw some of the videos that you choreographed, and oh my God, like they were fantastic. Like,
Thank you.
have you, I noticed on your bio that you've worked with some amazing people. Give us some details on some of that.
Yeah, I've been very, very fortunate to connect with certain choreographers and directors who've given me opportunities. Most recently, I worked on a TV show um, called Grand Army. The choreographer was Tanisha Scott, who I've always admired. She's Canadian but has worked with a lot of artists.
Hmm.
My friend Amanda Wilson was the assistant choreographer, and they both just did a phenomenal job. And that was really fun. I really enjoyed being on set and sort of experiencing dance that way. On the opposite end, I've had the opportunity to perform for a couple of artists and different, I guess, like galas and shows, which are sort of more focused on stage. Um,
Hmm.
I've done like BMMBAs. When Billie Eilish was starting off, she did a music video here, and I got to dance on that, which was really, really
Oh,
exciting.
how is she? How did you get to meet her in person?
Yeah, and you know what's really funny? Like I at the time didn't really know she was just starting off. Well, not starting off,
Yeah,
but she wasn't. I was blown up, and she was like 16 years old, and
yeah.
so professional, so talented, and um, they were long, long days, and I was just really impressed by her. And it was really, really great. Like again, I feel like for me, what makes a project stand out is not necessarily like the artist you're working for or the notability. It's more the people who you're actually working with on set, the choreographers who hire you, how you're treated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jobs as dancers that you go on that you're treated like a number, you're not treated with respect, you work for 10 hours and you're like, can I eat? So it's really, really great
Uh,
when when people just treat you well, and everybody on the set, from the choreographers to the directors to the videographers to the lighting, are just on the same page and really, really great and respectful. So
Amazing. So how has dance kind of affected you? How has it had integrated with your mental health?
So massively, I think I've come to realize more and more as I get older that dance is really therapy to me. Whenever I'm feeling stressed, whenever I'm feeling anxious, whenever I'm just not quite feeling myself, I find that if I stop and I take a class or I freestyle on my own or I just do something dance related, it always kind of brings me back down to like a good grounded level.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's this feeling that I think anybody who dances alongside me, my peers, and I've talked about it a lot. It's this feeling of fullness and connection with yourself and with others
Yeah.
sometimes that it's just not. I haven't been able to replicate it anywhere else. I think it's something that it's this wonderful feeling of being present in what you're doing in the moment and just staying very connected to your mind and your body. And I don't know where this passion came from because nobody else in my family dances, but from a young age I've always felt this.
Amazing. And I know that when I move my body and I just like smile when I do it, it's such a releasing, and you just don't care, and you just kind of, move with how your
Oh,
body
you
wants
froze slightly.
to. Pardon?
Oh, sorry, it froze slightly. Didn't catch
Oh,
that
okay.
last thing.
Oh, the internet. Yeah, so I just was agreeing with you that I love dancing in the way I can just like move my body, and that feeling is just so positive. And I think a lot of people should do more of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's still cutting out slightly. Let me move you closer to the internet box and see if that helps.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think that's better now.
Cool. Awesome. Um, so as a dancer right now, how do you keep up with your fitness at home, and what advice can you give to people who are kind of stuck indoors and they want to exercise but they don't want to lift weights and they don't want to go for a run? How do you keep fit and healthy during this time?
Yeah, so I think for me, I have days where I feel really motivated and other days where I don't want to move, and I think that's normal.
Mhm.
I personally do a combination of things. I dance a bit. I find that like it's really beautiful how so many dancers and choreographers have gone the route of teaching online. So there's that accessibility, and for all levels, if you're a beginner or you're advanced, there's so much going on right now. There's so much abundance of dance happening, which um, I can also, after this conversation, provide you with links of like people that
Oh,
I
amazing. Yeah.
just to give more resources. Way. And yeah, if you have the space in your home, you can absolutely dance. I've done a bit of dancing, to be honest. I'm not dancing as much as I normally would right now. I personally love the social aspect of dance, and I find it a little bit difficult
Yeah.
at home by myself. So I'm not forcing myself to do it. I'm doing it when it feels right for me.
Yeah.
I also I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of bar classes through Barworks. I do um, sometimes I just kind of do my own thing, my own body weight exercises. I pick up a can of tomatoes and use those as weight. Like, I guess at the end of
Yes.
the day, it comes down to like doing stuff that feels good for you. Sometimes I go outside and run. I'm not a runner, but I figure it's a good way to get fresh air. So I think it's almost like, again, because so many studios have gone online to offer classes, I think that you can kind of create your own combination.
Right.
One thing that I'm working on that I mentioned to you is a really, really dear friend of mine, Mingbo Lam, had this idea to create a studio quite a while ago, and she wanted to create sort of a space in the heart of Toronto that offered dance, but also yoga and meditation and HIIT classes. So sort of a place where you could get all of that in one. There's a lot of different studios that offer very specific things, and she kind of wanted to create this center for it all. And we had been
That's
talking about
smart.
the idea. Yeah, we had been talking about the idea. The other thing that was really important to her was creating dance classes that weren't necessarily rooted in choreography, just more so classes to get you moving for all levels, just to really that connection. I was talking to you about how I feel when I dance, just to kind of spread that connection and that joy.
Yeah.
And long story short, decided to launch it online right now. So it's called Oasis Studios. It's very new. We haven't even opened classes yet. But the intention is to offer dance classes and fitness and meditation and HIIT classes online. We have a really great team of instructors. There's 5 of them right
Amazing.
now. Yeah, and just to start in the online space, to start connecting with people, and then when the world kind of reopens again, to move into a physical space and continue to cultivate and foster that community that way.
And what do you think is so important for people that come to your classes when there is face-to-face interaction? Why is that so important? Because I know it's it's great when you're online, but what is that feeling when you get that group of people in a class?
Yeah, I think it's just this. I think reading and reacting to other people's body language and their physical energy is such a huge thing, and I sometimes find it hard to put into words because it is such a feeling. Um, I think the sense of knowing that you're not alone, like knowing that you're in this whatever class you're in it with other people, and while there is an individual experience, after that hour and a half, you've had this collective experience together, and you've created a memory, and you've grown. You grow with other people, which I think is just in anything you do a really unique experience.
Yeah,
You have the opportunity for feedback. You have other people watching you watching other people, an opportunity to learn from other people, to get inspired by other people. Um, and just, I think for me, there's also a feeling of letting go and just kind of, like you said, sometimes you feel uncomfortable moving, right? If you're not
yeah,
dancing. And I do too. I take classes sometimes and I'm like, what am I doing? But I think it's when there are spaces that allow you to be vulnerable and allow you to look silly and allow you to just do whatever the hell you want and move in the way you move. And that's okay. It's a
yeah,
very freeing experience. It builds your confidence. Um, it allows you to be okay with vulnerability, which I think is a big reason why people are afraid to dance in the first place. They don't want to look dumb. But when I teach, I try to keep that feeling in my classes as much as possible, especially when I'm teaching beginners. I'm like,
hmm,
there's no judgment in this space. There's no anything. If you feel crazy, it's probably a good thing. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. So, I mean, for people that are at home kind of afraid, you would promote the community aspect of the classes, and that would bring out their vulnerability and helping them, connect with themselves really too.
100%. I also think like dance is such a really honestly like it goes back to the beginning of time in terms of how dance originated, and I think it's
Yeah.
such a it is something that I hear often. Oh, I would love to dance, but I'm afraid, or I suck, or I'm not good. And
Yeah.
I think in everybody there's like this innate like I don't want to speak for like everybody, but I think that there's like this innate want to dance and to like be
Yeah.
good at it. Like that's why you go to like a wedding and people are like, I'm gonna hit that dance floor after 5 shots because it's like they need that liquid courage to then do what they
Yes.
really want to do. But I think that there's just this like people wanna. It feels good to move your body to music, whether or not
Yeah.
you're even moving to the beat. It just feels good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think right now if somebody's at home and they're like, okay, this is a skill I want, again, they can connect. I can share the info for Oasis Studios after because that's exactly our intention. And again, they can. There's so many other resources just to find beginner classes where they can start with the basics and it feel, I think, a little less scary because you can do it alone at home or no one's watching you.
Yeah.
Um, and just take a bit of a risk on yourself to know that like when you start anything in life you're never going to be great. If you saw videos of me when I started, you would be laughing your head off. Like we all start from somewhere, but
Yeah.
you can only get better.
So what do you think has propelled you to get where you are, with who you are and dancing in general?
I think it's honestly, it goes back to my passion for it and that love of it that I haven't found in anything else I've ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
My sort of like laser focus and my excitement around creating choreography is something that's newer. It's a newer path I'm exploring, but it just, when you do things in life and it just feels right, you're like, this is
Yeah.
what I meant to be doing. I played around with the idea of pursuing dance in the States and doing that route. And I just realized like, that's not my path. I really want to build and grow in Toronto or in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, yeah, I've been guided by my passion. I'm a big believer, we talked about this before, I'm a big believer in if you have an entrepreneurial spirit and you find something you connect to go for it, especially when we're younger and like we don't have as many potential I
Responsibilities?
don't yeah, like I don't have kids to take care of, I don't have a
Yeah.
mortgage, like I have things that are would really require me to maybe act differently. Right now I'm really lucky to have this time to take a chance on myself. So I
Yeah.
encourage anybody who also is in like a similar position to go for it. Things might not work out in the way you expect them to, but they could work out in another way that's even better. And if you have that passion and that, and you can ask any dancer, you have so many doors slammed in your face. You have so many no's. You have a lot of rejection in this industry. But if you want it and you're willing to work for it, it'll happen. It'll just on its own time and its own path.
I 100% believe that entirely, and like that's why I'm sitting here doing this live with you and have created this community, because I think it's so important that people know that it's okay to work on your dreams. Even if you have a job, you can do something after work. And I mean, if you do have kids or you're busy with other things, just take time for yourself and do something you really love, especially during this time where we have time, we're with ourselves the entire time, and to really explore what we like doing. Maybe that's an online class for an hour, maybe that's meditation and breathing, and maybe that's doing a dance class online or anything like that. Just whatever gives you joy, because I think those are the things that make these quote unquote boring days worthwhile, and to keep up the creativity, because I think that the creativity and the artistry really help your mental health entirely. So, in terms of the benefits of dancing, We know that it's a really great positive empowerment for your brain. But what other health benefits does dance provide? I mean, besides the fact that you get these beautiful dancer bodies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of impacts your mental and physical health in every single way.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, of course, you're exercising, you're building endorphins. Another really, I personally believe, and like based on the research I've done, I think for your brain, not only the mental health aspect in terms of, you know, using it as a tool when you are experiencing anything from anxiety or sadness. I don't, again, like I'm not speaking from a medical perspective. So in terms of, more serious mental illnesses, like I do believe that there's always space for dance, but I want to sort of be careful in how I approach that. But
Yeah.
I also think for your memory and your general retention skills, I have noticed other areas of my life I've become stronger in through things like practicing retaining choreography. I think my ability to remember information, I think my ability to connect dots.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, Amanda, her name's Amanda Donato. She's a dancer, and also she is a graduate of psychology at Ryerson. Did a really, really cool study recently where she was looking at the connection between your mental abilities and memory retention and the dancer's brain versus the non-dancer brain. And she's still working on that study, but I think that there's a lot to be said about just your ability to the transferable skills that you get from what you retain in a classroom. And then physically for your body, again, I think it's just a sense of um, freedom with your body to move.
Yeah.
I think that we live in a society that puts people in like these like, you must look this way, you must act this way, you must walk this way, you must. And I think I've noticed for myself, like I have if I'm out in the middle of the street and I have to do a dance or whatever, like I have my inhibitions for that are gone. I don't really think about, oh, what are other people going to think? And that's the thing that I used to be really shy and I would never just go into like, any public place and dance. And now I feel like it's let me let go of those inhibitions.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I would say it's a very, very full 360 kind of effect that dance can have on you, both mentally and physically. And yeah, it's a fun way to work out. If that's the only reason you want to do it, I get a lot of students who are like, I just want to sweat and do it to good music and move my body and have some cardio. I'm like, great. Like
because it's mentally, you don't even think of it as working out. It's like, it's like just a happy dance we're doing, or it's like an emotional response to something. You know what I mean? Like we don't necessarily connect dancing with working out. Although like now there's a lot more like fitness dance, compilations that you can do online and all of that. But it's just interesting how people separate the two, where it is very much one and the same.
Yeah, it's so beautiful because exactly what you said. Sometimes I'll be in a class and it'll be I'll be so focused that I don't even realize how hard I'm pushing my body. And it's not till the end that I'm like gasping for air and I'm like, wait, what just happened? That I realized that I pushed my own capacity for my endurance and all that kind of stuff. So but at the same time, I'm working on my, cognitive abilities and I'm connecting to maybe a piece of music that's really emotional, that's like affecting me or bringing up certain feelings and releasing those.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, again, it's there's so many benefits. And I really, truly believe that anybody who dances can feel it. You don't need to be pursuing dance professionally. I taught a class about a couple months ago and I had this girl who, she came out, it was her first time ever dancing. And at the end of the class, it was really beautiful. She just hugged me when we could hug. And she hugged me and she was crying and she just said, thank you. And I was like, oh my God, like, do you want to tell me what's going on? And she was like, I just had the worst week. My life is upside down and I just needed to release. And that's what I did for the last hour. I just let it all out. And I was like, how do you feel now? And she's like, I feel lighter. I feel lighter. And that was so cool to me because I'm like, to be able to facilitate a space that other people can do that.
Yeah.
And I do believe like going to the gym and like doing a HIIT class, you can definitely get that same like release. But there's something about dance that I think just it's slightly different. So
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's your body almost just letting go and taking risks. Do you find that outside of dance, because you're taking risks with your body, that it's been easier? And I know you said you've danced in the streets, but like in terms of your career and your life, has dance helped you take risks?
I think so. I think what it does is it teaches you to be a little bit more fearless.
Mm-hmm.
Especially then on the flip side, working in the industry, it teaches you to have thicker skin,
Yeah.
to not be as reactive. You know, I'm a very sensitive person. I'm very emotional, and I quickly learned that I need to, you know, if I want to be in this industry, I can't cry every time I don't book something, or I can't
Yeah.
feel bad every time something doesn't work, because more often than not, it doesn't work, right? Everyone kind of has to find their lane, and in doing so, it's hard. So yeah, I think then I've pulled some of the skills I've learned into other aspects of my life. Like and I mentioned this to you before, I have a degree in communications, and I do some work in communications as a contractor with health and wellness and fitness companies, and some business development. And I really enjoy using that side of my brain. And I feel like the way I do work in that field and the way I push for things that I really believe will help these companies, I think stems from that push I give to myself as a dancer,
Yes. Yep.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's this like drive and this determination that you learn in the studio, that are like, this is hard and this sucks in the moment, but I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna work harder, and then you bring that into other elements of what you do. Yeah, so I think there's so many transferable skills. But I think the biggest thing for a lot of people, what I hear, I guess, from my students, is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When you build that confidence, when you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you can kind of take that anywhere you go.
I love that, because I think that a lot more people have to get in touch with their vulnerability. Um, a lot of people hold emotion in, and that's so heavy. It's a very heavy feeling, and it can take everything out of you. Um, so I just think that being able to express yourself, not necessarily through talking and sharing your emotions, but like through an expressive way that, maybe you wouldn't think of, being expressive.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any misconceptions people have about dancers or the dance world that you found, or
Yeah. Do you mean sort of people outside of the dance world and their
yeah.
perception of dancers? Yes. First of all, there's been this constant fight with that, like I've been a part of, my community's been a part of, for dancers to be respected and valued on the level that they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So from a career side of things, we're constantly fighting for better pay, for better treatment on sets. There's a union, ACTRA, that I'm a part of,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're working under ACTRA, it's different because they have like laid out rules and things that people abide by, and fair pay. But when you're doing non-union work, which most dancers start off in, it's a lot. It's a lot of people not treating you personally, what I think the way you need to be treated, and then also for dancers navigating, okay, is this job worth it? Am I going to suck it up and take that lower pay, or am I going to take these things to build my career? So it's constantly sort of educating people on what it means to be a dancer, what it means to be a working dancer, how much work, how much training we put in, how we have to market ourselves, all the work we constantly do, the continued training to stay at the level we want to be. It's a lot. And I
Yeah.
think the more, at least for me, I've noticed that as I grow in the world of choreography, I'm having a lot of big conversations with producers and directors, negotiating things like pay and lunch breaks and
That shouldn't
treatment.
be a non-negotiable, should
You
it
would think,
not?
and I think for me, again, coming from a world of, I've worked in not-for-profits, I've worked in the corporate world. When I worked in corporate communications, the benefits that I had in that
Yeah.
world, I was like, wait, what? Like, you're giving me free meals every day, and like there were just so many, you're paying for my Ubers, things that like dancers should also get, but sometimes it's
Yeah.
hard to know where that line is and what you can ask for. And
Yeah.
then I think there's also the misconception of, oh, if you're an artist, you must be struggling and you must, you know, there's
That's
this
silly.
perception of the starving artist. And I
Yeah.
think when I made the decision to leave my full-time job and to pursue art, I got a lot of people being like, oh, so are you going to make any money, or are you going to move back home with your, and I was like,
How did that even
no.
get started? I don't understand. I don't
Sorry?
even know how, I don't know how the struggling artist started. I guess like there was this concept that, you know, it was a slower way to make money, but who's to say? Like, I think it's all about what you have, your passion, and the drive that you have. So any job that someone has, no matter if you're a janitor or a dancer or, you know, someone who works on Wall Street, like, I think that people should have respect for whatever you do.
Yeah, I think over time in society, the arts has never had that. It's never been given the same value as the more traditional routes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more money making routes. And so that there's still this misconception that being an artist, you're sacrificing financial stability, or you're sacrificing these other things because you're passionate and you love it. But I believe strongly you can be an artist and you can also be financially successful. You can be an
Exactly.
entrepreneur. There's no reason. I think, I think it's something that we just have to educate people on. I think as an arts community, like we have to, because the arts are so valuable and everybody loves the arts. If you watch movies, if you go to shows, if you wear fashion, everything is art. So I think and I do think in other parts of the world, the art cultures, from like how much the government gives art funding to, you know, people who go out to shows. I think in other parts of the world, it's valued a little bit higher. I think in North America, we're still working on that. It's still like, oh, but you have a degree. Don't you want to do this? And it's like, the other thing I think personally, and I think I could speak for a lot of, you know, my peers, is that you have to work so incredibly hard when you're an artist to make a living, to be successful. I've never worked harder in my life, and I'm not undermining what I've done for other companies, but I know that if I don't put in the work, I'm not going to get paid. I'm not going to get more jobs. So it is a really, really, really challenging industry, and I have so much respect for everybody who chooses this path.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, in my personal journey, I just hope to keep educating people on the value of like artists in general, and continue to create spaces where I can allow other people to pursue what they love.
Yeah.
That was a very long answer, sorry.
No, I know. This is why we're doing this. It's so interesting. I love hearing people's stories and how it's like it's affected their lives and what they go through in their, you know, journey. So thank you. It's very cool to learn. Who would you say is your role model? Is there someone in the industry that you look up to, or outside of the industry, that, you know, really inspires you?
Yeah. So right away, I mean, there's been quite a few people that I've had the pleasure from working with and learning from. There are three women. Their names are Addie Chan, Caroline Torti, and Bree Wazilenko, and they started it was a workshop called Booked, and they did it a couple years ago to educate emerging dancers on the industry and the business side of things. And I attended their workshops because all three of them are very successful in their own ways. The workshop doesn't exist anymore, but they've all gone on to do incredible things on their own path. And I remember being in that workshop and listening to the way they spoke, looking at their artistry, which is incredible, but then also looking at their business sense and just being like, I want to be like them. I didn't even know what I wanted to be yet. Because what I found is they have and then I've subsequently worked with all of them professionally, and like, it's just so incredible because they're like these strong, powerful women who are carving out their own paths, who don't deal, you know, even in this industry, of course, there's, you know, some men who are in charge who, you know, don't treat women properly. And all three of them, I feel like, are these forces that really stand up for fair treatment, fair pay, all the things we mentioned. So the three of them have always been a big inspiration. They continue to be. they're kind of all over now and again. Like they're just, yeah, they're three women I really look up to. And then I'm also part of a dance company / training program called Footnotes, and it is led by these Pyro and Mariano are the founders, and they're two sort of legends in the dance world here. And I am so inspired by their work ethic, their passion for the craft. You know, they've been doing this for a while, and they're still going and still training, and they've really created a place for dancers who want to be educated on street dance to come and learn and grow and really understand the history, the foundation, why we do what we do, you know, hip hop culture in general, like where it comes from, respecting the culture. You know, if we weren't born in it, how do we learn it and respect it and not just take from it? And they've been massive influences in my journey, just as an artist.
Very cool. And have you worked with these women directly in terms of choreography?
Yeah, so I worked as a dancer for all of the people I mentioned.
Awesome.
As a dancer, but watching how all of these people operate as choreographers has been a big reason that I've been inspired to pursue choreography directly, because again, I look at how they work and the things that they create, and it's inspired me. I'm like, I want to one day work like that. I want to create and inspire other people.
Yeah.
I want to carve out my own path. All of them are entrepreneurs in their own way, and yeah, it gives me this excitement. And I think it's you never stop learning, right?
Yes.
Like that's the thing. It's like I've been doing this for a while, like in terms of this industry, but I still have days where I'm like, wow, you learn constantly. So having people to continue to look up to, who mentor you or who just inspire you, I feel very lucky to see that and to have that.
Amazing. I think just from hearing you speak, it is so inspiring to see someone who loves what they do so much and wants to, you know, change the industry and change the world with, you know, the way that you would like to teach your dance and what it means to you. I think it's really important for you know, people to hear that. And I'm sure that the people that are on this live are very inspired and, you know, want to take up dance. I know that I do. And I did tap in jazz when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was not coordinated, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah.
I think remembering that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I love when people come to classes I've taught and they're not even following the choreography. They're doing their own thing.
Yes.
But they're having so much fun. I'm like, great. As long as you're not disturbing anyone else in the class, like I don't care, because all I want is for people to experience that joy.
Yes.
And if you can find your own way to experience joy, and again, it doesn't matter what you look like. It does not matter. It's what you feel like. So
yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you kind of wanted to share with the community about what you're doing, and, you know, giving some people some courage to take up and do the things that they love, including dance if they wanted to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm like an open book, so like I'm always happy to talk to anybody. I think the cool thing about social media is you can create connections just like we are really quickly, and
it's all about reaching out.
Yeah, like new friends, but just discover like similarities in, you know, somebody who would have been a complete stranger. So I'm a part of a couple of different like Facebook groups too of other like entrepreneurial women that kind of inspires me, and I can also send you those links after.
Yeah.
But for me, I would just say, again, through what Bo and I are creating with Oasis Studios, I would definitely encourage people to check that out as sort of a starting point if they're interested in like dance and movement and wellness through those physical avenues, because it's something that I'm going to be putting a lot of energy into. I also, for me, like I hope in my journey to continue growing as a choreographer and working with a wide variety of people on.
Who do you want to work with?
I don't have specific like people that I want to work for. It's more about projects. Like I want to, again, like to me, I just want to work with good people, talented people, hardworking people. Like I think a lot of people have like, oh, this one person in mind, but I honestly don't. Like, I would love to choreograph for a TV show or a movie. Netflix, if you're watching.
Woo!
I would love to work with artists. I have done a bit of artist work here, and I would love to continue working with artists, helping them create their shows. I've done a bit of movement coaching with everyone from other artists to people who are just who just want to learn to be comfortable with their bodies. So,
Yeah.
um, the more people that I can affect positively with my work, the better. I mean, I have really big goals. I would love to work internationally. Yeah, I mean, again, like the industry is full of so much talent and so many people I aspire to sort of model their work ethic. But at the end of the day, I don't want to set too close to sort of set goals for myself in the sense of I don't want to narrow it too specifically because I really am open to any opportunities. So yeah, I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think it does. And again, like, I really enjoy talking with people like you because you have so much passion and gumption for what you want to do. And I feel like more people need to kind of get in touch with these things that give them joy. And again, this is why we're doing this, to help people connect with that. But yeah, like, I think that life is too short to kind of be doing things. Like, don't get me wrong, there are people that do not like their job and you need that job. I get it. But
100%.
there's things that you can focus on that just take a little bit of time to do. If that's reading a book, if that's something that you like doing, if that's, doing a dance class, if that's, calling a friend. I think during this time is to really find things that you're passionate about. And like you said, like, you never know what that passion could bring about. Or, after this whole thing, like, maybe they realize that, you know what, I'm going to go be like Nicole. I'm going to go start dancing and be a choreographer. And I just think that limiting ourselves to what we think we should be doing and putting each of us in a box is not how you should be living life. So,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, like you said, life is too short. And if you are, like I said, fortunate to be in a similar situation where you can explore your own passion a bit more, then it's like, why not go for it? I mean, if I didn't make the risk of leaving, my full-time salary job,
Mhm.
which I was so unhappy in. I was watching the clock every day. I was like, what
Yeah.
am I doing with my life? My friends were going to auditions, and I was like, I want to be at those auditions. So
Yeah.
I think, like, making that jump was the best decision of my life. And it was scary, of course. It's never going to be easy. And
Yeah.
you have to, that's what I always tell people. I'm like, you can't be afraid to fail. You will fail. You will fail 100 times over, but then you'll succeed.
Thank you. I need to hear that.
Yeah, you will fail. Oh my God. It's like when people are like, but what if it doesn't work out? I'm like, I wish you could have been a fly on the wall in everything that I've done that hasn't worked out. You're going to have people that are not nice to you. Like, you're just going to have, like I said, you're going to have to build that thick skin, and you're going to just have to let your own motivation and your own resolve, like, guide you, and just be like, okay, thank you. And, if people are going to be negative or try and stop you, just thank them and move forward. Like, you
Because
can't.
not everyone's going to like you as much as
No,
you
exactly.
want them to. Not everyone's going to like you.
Exactly. And people are going to have their opinions on everything you do. People love to hate. It's a weird thing. Like, I also think subconsciously a lot of people don't like to see other people succeed in something that they want to do. Like, it's a weird thing.
It's like a jealousy thing.
I've seen a lot of friends have a lot of success,
Yeah.
and then hearing other people say negative things about them, and I'm like, but they're living their dream. Like,
What are you
doing?
doing?
I'm like, go do your own thing. Yeah, like, other people's success doesn't take away from you, and I think that's what people forget. Like, me not booking an audition doesn't mean somebody who got it took anything away. It was never mine to begin with. So,
Yeah.
and then another thing I do, which I haven't mentioned yet, but I do think is really important, is I've been reading a lot of not self-help books, but like motivational, entrepreneurial type. Yeah, and like, oh my God, just a good book that like gives you those like reminders and those tools of what you can do to stay on the path. And they're never dance specific books. Like, they're always just kind of like overall life.
Have you read The Alchemist?
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah.
That's my favorite book.
Like that. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yes. Like, it reminds you about, like, it sounds cheesy, but like the journey that life is, and the potential that we have to, when you listen to any successful person, they talk about like the hardships they went to and the obstacles they face. I rarely hear interviews with people that I admire that were like, oh yeah, I just woke up and overnight I was a success. Like,
Yeah. No way.
It's funny, like, for even me, like in this journey, like when I started choreographing, I've been choreographing for years. I just never publicly put my work out there, but I've been in my room videotaping myself, making my sister learn my choreo.
That's so
But it
amazing.
yeah, it's just like, but it wasn't until I went public and then people were like, oh my God, like, it's like you just did this overnight. And I was like, no, like, I've been doing this for a second, but I just wasn't loud about it. Like, I did it on my own. And I think that's what we have to remember about anybody in life. People go about their journeys and they can work really, really hard, kind of under, not in the public eye.
Yeah.
And then when they're ready to kind of come out, they do. And we just have to support each other.
100%. And I think that people discount the fact that everyone has their own journey, as you said, and like everyone, the road to that like end or the path to that is so different from, it's unique to everyone. Not everyone is gonna, you know, go to university, be a doctor, blah, blah, blah. You know, not everyone's going to have the straight path and narrow path. Most people are going to have the zigzaggy path where, you know, things don't always, you know, go their way, but it's having that drive and that passion to know that you're on the right path and you listen to yourself and, you know, you move forward. And I think, yeah.
I also think kind of what you were saying about like the zigzagging, a really cool thing I've learned too is I used to think, okay, if I want to pursue this, I have to do these exact steps.
Yes.
And I used to feel guilty. This sounds weird. I used to feel bad about the fact that I went to university because I felt like I wasted my time. I was like, oh, I should have been dancing.
Oh my God.
But
I felt the same way. I should have been in college doing like some communications course that was more hands-on.
Right. But like when you're 18 years old, you don't know. Like at least I had no idea. When I meet like 17-year-olds now who are like, they know their path, I'm like, glad you figured it out. Like I didn't figure it out to my mid-20s.
Yeah.
But I think for me now that I'm looking in retrospect, all those jobs I had that I didn't love, university that I wasn't the best student, I still took away a lot of skills. And I think like in that corporate job I talked about, I was in boardrooms with like the CEO of like TJX, like I don't know if like Marshall's Winners, whatever.
Yep.
I was in these boardrooms with my so I was in these boardrooms working on strategies with my female boss who was a badass. And even though I didn't love the job, I think subconsciously I was picking up skills on presentation, communication, fighting for what you want as a woman. So that's the really great thing. Like now I don't regret any of those experiences. I don't regret starting later than a lot of my peers because they've given me the tools that I can now use as like a businesswoman in dance, as a choreographer or as an artist, which I don't think I would have had if I just jumped straight into it after high school. And again, not taking away, I have a lot of friends who didn't go to university who are the most brilliant humans.
Yeah.
But that's their path. So
exactly.
I guess it's just like, if you decide at 18 you want to be an entrepreneur, an artist, or if you decide at 35, like it doesn't matter. You just do what's right for you at your time.
And I think all of these things that take place in our life, and not to be cheeseball, but everything happens for a reason. And, you know, those little things that you're like, oh, why did that happen? Or, oh God, like, why did I do that? It all kind of ends up like working its way and figuring it out in your life, and it just fits. And then you're like, okay, got it. Thanks.
I can 100% attest to that. I have so many moments, especially now in this weird time where I'm like, what is going on? Like, you know, and just feeling really out of sorts. But then anytime in retrospect, I look back at those periods of my life, I recognize that they were there to either teach me a lesson or to help push me in the direction I needed to go. And even if it's hard, even if you feel like you're losing something or you're making a difficult decision or, you know, whatever it is, I have to believe that it's leading you in the place you're meant to go, and just trusting that, which is hard. It's hard to do.
Oh, very hard.
You just have to do it.
But you have to do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we're getting kind of, I don't know when Instagram shuts this off, but I wanted
It's
to,
an hour.
I think it's an hour, but I wanted to see if there was anyone listening out there, if anyone had any questions for us about dance or about, you know, finding your passions, whatever you want to talk about or ask. Just gonna throw it out there. If not, I'm fine with continuing to talk. Oh gosh. Alrighty. People are talkative today. It is Tuesday, you know?
It's Tuesday.
Anyways. Did you have any questions or, you know, things that you wanna, you know, touch? Hold on. Is it better to get the basics of dance down first before, you know, trying to ooh, good question. I feel like I would be like one of those overachievers that tries to do intermediate.
Okay, so basics 100%. It's like anything in life. Like if I want to learn piano, I need to know what the keys are first before I try and play a song. When you learn the basics, it gives you the tools to then go into intermediate. There's so much more to choreography than just steps. There's, like I said, there's like foundation, there's understanding like how to move your body, weight transfers, where moves come from that'll help you become a much stronger dancer. I will still take beginner classes when I need to refresh myself on skills. So,
oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, because it's you're constantly training yourself. You're constantly. It's like when you ballerinas who talk about, you know, their routines. They're still before performances doing their plies and their tendus and their basics at the bar every morning. Like it's just got to keep training it. So definitely start with basics, and then once you feel like you have a good handle on it, then push yourself and challenge yourself. But I've had people who took my intermediate classes who've never taken a class and leave incredibly frustrated because they don't have the tools to understand how to even approach the class.
Yeah.
And it's a little frustrating for other people in the class if they're taking up space and whatever. So I say start with the basics, and then when you feel ready, push yourself forward.
Cool. Well, thank you, Samantha, for that question.
I hope that helps.
It definitely helped me if it didn't help anyone. If there's any more questions, I was just going to ask you, what is your favorite type of dance? I know you mentioned the hip hop, but is that still ringing true for you?
It's such a funny question because I've been asked before and I've honestly never been able to answer with one specific genre because I am so inspired by movement across the board. Like there is a dance form that I haven't been inspired by. As a trained dancer, I have trained primarily in like hip hop and street styles, and then contemporary and ballet in the classical world. Right now, my passion lies street dance, which is everything from like popping, locking, house, hip hop foundations, because that's what I'm currently doing to get better. There's a lot that I need to grow in that element. So that's, you know, what I connect to in terms of the music I'm listening to and sort of the where I'm at right now. But I think it changes over time depending on, you know, part of my life I'm in. If I need there are days where I'm like, I need a good cry, and I'll go to a really, like my friend Bo teaches, oh my God, the most beautiful contemporary classes. And I've gone to her class and bawled my eyes out and then been like, I feel good now. So again, it just depends on my mood. But the great thing right now is that like dance is so accessible. You can go and find every form of dance. I've had the pleasure of learning from AC Mensa. She's a choreographer, this amazing person in general in Toronto. She's Afro-based and Afro-fusion. And I absolutely am so inspired by that area of movement and that culture, and just sort of understanding and learning from her more about how dance has been such a big part of that culture. And music is amazing, and you feel so good, and you just feel so grounded, and so that's a style of dance I would love to learn more in. Yeah, I can't give you just one. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We thought we could get it out of you, but it's okay. if there's no more questions, I'm going to probably start to wrap this up. I wanted to say thank you to Nicole. This has been so inspirational and so great. I've learned a lot about dance and a lot about, a lot about everything, really. We've talked about a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so inspired by your curiosity and interest in what you're doing with this platform. And I'm excited to see who else you bring on.
Oh,
And yeah, you're doing amazing stuff. So if I can support you in any way, let me know. I think it's amazing what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Well, we will keep in touch because I totally want to go to Oasis or when it's open. And, when are you going to start having those online classes?
So our goal is to launch beginning of May. We actually have friends that have created their content. We're just working with our platform provider to set it up right now. So
Cool.
So we're aiming for the 1st or 2nd of May. And I'll keep you looped in. The that we're launching is completely free. So people can try out the class that they like, see what they're next to, and from there, there's like a small fee to continue accessing the platform.
Cool. When it is open, I will spread the word because I think it's a fantastic organization. I think, promoting more dance is promoting more positivity, I think. And I really, truly, I'm inspired by what you do. And hopefully the people that have joined us today, have really taken a different, perspective on dance and see how important it is for your mental health, not only just your physical health, but mentally feeling good about,
Yes.
how to move your body and your emotions that you release when you, dance and shake your ass, really.
You sound like a dancer. As you're talking, I'm like, you know so much. This is great.
Yeah, well,
I will train you. We will dance together.
Perfect. I'm signing up.
Great. Amazing.
Okay, well, thank you guys, and I will post Nicole's suggestions for dance links if you guys want to. I know I will be doing it probably later this week, getting my groove on. But I will have those available for you. And if you guys have any questions, just send me a direct message to find out any further information. I'm being told that I have 2 minutes left, so I gotta wrap this up. But thank you guys for joining us. We will be back Tuesday at 2 next week with another fantastic guest. We'll see you soon, everyone. Bye, Nicole.
Bye. Bye.